Hello everyone, I'm Fraud Review and today's viewer will be Glizzy. They have been playing Asuka for roughly 2 months and are currently on floor 8. Before we head into the video, I'd like to remind you that there's a character vote for the next viewer review. If there's a character you really want to see reviewed, feel free to check that out. I also haven't decided on next week's fraud character yet, so if there's any character you'd like to see a fraud review of, let me know in the comments. That's all for the intro, let's see how we can help Glizzy out. Disengaging on round start is a great choice for Asuka. Asuka lacks strong normals that can cover multiple options on round start, like Nago 5k for example. Options like jumping back into Screamer or Terra Metron are incredibly hard to contest and allow you to get a card as well as a test case change going. Depending on your hand, you might even be able to combo into a favorable position, but this requires good luck as well as great awareness of your spells. Backdashing or just walking back into a spell can also be a viable choice. This was an amazing strike throw setup here. You can use the same setup with other spells like Howling Metron as well. Ending this conversion on 2H to gain resource puts you back into neutral. This can be bad for Asuka because he has to take risks to get back in. If you can't get your conversion to wall break, it's best to end it in 6H for the hard knockdown. This allows you to manage resource while also keeping pressure up. It's important to note that 5k 6H can drop if the scaling on the conversion is too high. If you are not confident in getting the wall break, it's best to end your routing early. This burst here was a bit early. Due to Asuka's bad survivability, burst is his most important resource by far. Bursting just before mana runs out makes you lose out on the passive mana regeneration you get after losing your shield. This forces you to use the space you just gained to refill mana yourself. I also recommend staying away from P mana regeneration. By the time you are done charging mana, you will have missed everything that will ever happen. This includes things like the test case 2 buffs, proper matchmaking, a BlazBlue character making it into Strife, as well as the day Arxis finally decides it's time to nerf Nago. It looks like you were afraid of a reversal here after the throw. Asuka actually has access to an auto-timed safe jump after throw. The notation is on the screen. You can also manually time a safe jump yourself to get access to a fuzzy high-low like this. You could have used the other spells to confirm into a wall break and a kill here. TARDIS Metron is best used in a combo or a block string, it's not good at controlling neutral like this. There was no reason to air dash in like this, you could have used the green cubes to start your pressure. Here's how that would have looked. The wake up 6p here was a very risky option as well. Metron Arpeggio has an incredibly long startup. Minimize using it in neutral. It's best to use it when you force plus frames on your opponent with a spell beforehand. Spells with a lot of plus frames like the ones on screen right now are usually best for this. You could have easily contested this on the ground. Playing it slow on wake up is usually the way to go. There's no need to press right away. There's no reason to autopilot this many spells away. You could have kept the Terra Metron for a much better resource situation here. This hit here could have also easily converted into 6H for a great knockdown. You were a bit too low on resource to engage here. It would have been better to charge your mana during the arpeggio and then use the meter later for shuffle super. You should minimize using 2D in a block string when you don't have a spell or meter to back it up. It's incredibly minor, so the opponent gets a free punish if they block it. In this case you could have used your burst for a blue wild assault to frame trap the opponent and keep your string going.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
You could have used Metron Screamer here to control neutral really well. Air dashing at your opponent is very risky, especially if you cast a spell out of it. Doing this gives your opponent way too much time to just run up and press a button, especially if the spell you use loses 2 buttons like cubes. This was an incredibly risky play. It would have been better to use the plus frames to fix your hand before entering test case 3 or at least draw cards immediately instead of recovering mana. Getting caught with a bricked hand like this usually means losing the round if the opponent knows the matchup. This knockdown would have been the perfect chance to draw multiple cards. You had to dash up close here to get proper Oki. The plus frames would have allowed you to recover a lot of resource and keep pressure up. There's also this really good setup with TARDIS on Oki. You have enough time to just visually confirm if the opponent is blocking before going into the string. It's relatively lenient, so you can take your time with it and still get a true string going. This allows you to bait reversals while also getting the fuzzy mix if they block it. Here's how to convert off of the high and low with Howling Metron. You can also pick up this hit with Roman Cancel or other spells depending on the routing, but I can't showcase all of the routes here. If you want to wall break with the overhead route, you need to spend a little more resource on cubes. It would have been better to keep the RMS boost Metron here instead of casting it during the Metron Arpeggio. Casting other cubes during Arpeggio just wastes the plus frames as well as the resource you could have gotten with them. You used your plus frames really well here to get distance and then start pressure. This was great. You could have gotten more plus frames here before the buff to keep pressure going. This was a really good spot for the card super, but there's actually a better way to shuffle your cards to get what you want. You can actually press all spell buttons to shuffle 4 cards at once. Once you find the card that you want, you stop pressing the corresponding button and keep going with the rest. Keep doing this until you have all the cards that you are looking for or the super ends on its own. Boost Metron safely leads into Arpeggio. You could have been way more efficient in this string. You gotta be really careful in neutral when your mana is empty. Every hit can be round ending.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
This is another situation where staying grounded would have been the better choice. If you only went for one resource instead of two here, you could have gotten a 5k into 6h for a better knockdown or even a full combo. You could have also squeezed a bit more damage out of this string with 5k 6h and it might have even been enough to kill here. I think for now you should focus on getting better knockdowns off of your hits via 6h as well as lowering your air dash usage. Better shuffling habits are important as well, but those will come with time. Getting more breathing room with hard knockdowns is much more important for you now. That's all for today's viewer review. Thank you for watching.